YouTube.
Rubber Baby Bubby Bumpers.
Say good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning! Coming to you live from Max Media Group headquarters here in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. It's the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay with your hosts. Matt and Jay! Sorry, I had to take the ATN thing off of the front. Steve Schultz. Steve Highlander. I can't get your last name right today. Steve McAllister is with us today.
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome
Hi,
to
folks.
the party, Steve McCalla Schultz.
Hey, we're twins. Didn't you know that? Steve and Steve.
You're a lot taller than Steve Schultz.
By the way, I wonder. Well, some sure.
You must be this tall to be Steve.
Yes, that's true. But hey, short Steve is a good Steve, right, Steve?
Yeah, that's Steve. Right, Steve. All right.
So when I
Now that we're done Steving it up, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay. My name is Matt. That would be Jay. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
my name is Steve.
Glad to have everybody on board with us today. It's an exciting day today.
Yes, it is. It's
My
Thursday.
nose is running. I should probably,
Catch it.
yeah.
We are 5 minutes late.
Are we 5 minutes? No, we're actually only 3 minutes late.
Well, my 5-minute timer just went off is what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
Jay, I am so sorry. You're gonna have to help me out here.
Lori
again.
Bumgarner, welcome to the party. Good to see you. She says, "How are you?" And hi, Jay. Jessica Batson's on the air with us, or on the line in the chat room. Good morning, everybody. Glad
And
to
I'm
have
just
everybody on board with
minced
us today.
meat. No.
What did you say?
I said I'm just minced meat.
Is it on? You gotta have your
No,
Facebook
not
on.
yet.
Have you done the Facebook
Okay.
yet? Have
Watch.
You even gone on to Facebook?
At least I thought I did, but
Watch
you
as
may
Jay
have to help me.
continues
Is that Facebook?
the instruction on how to share a video on Facebook.
So you have to bring Facebook up.
So you have to bring Facebook up.
Come on. We're having instructions here.
That's nothing compared to one night at the Veterans Church. There were three elderly men trying to figure out a CD player, and that was probably one of the funniest things I had seen in a long time. They couldn't find the right track, and whenever it started playing the wrong song. It was a karaoke song, and they were kind of mumbling back and forth to one another, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. All right.
Now, that's not the best way to share it because you have to select individuals that you share it with instead of when it comes up on your news feed, then you can share it with everybody at once
Yeah.
Right.
or share it to your news feed or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have
don't know
to.
how it works.
I'm not going to do the watch party this morning.
You're not? Steve McAllister joined us on the old chat.
Hey
Jason
there.
B. Cobb, welcome to the party, you two.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How are you guys
Good to
doing
be
this
here.
morning?
Good. Now that I'm off of Glenstone.
Oh, yeah, it was bad on Sunshine, too.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I'm usually in the parking lot by now.
I
had
know.
to sit for like 2 or 3 lights down here
Yep.
on who's it? On
Who's it?
Kansas and Sunshine.
I was on Glenstone for a while. I got.
You know, the population is getting the number is getting higher. So there are more people, there are more jobs, so more people are driving to work this time of the morning.
Mhm.
Which, praise God,
Yeah.
you know, there was a time whenever you didn't hardly see anybody in the morning because there was, I mean, compared to today anyways, because
Right.
the jobs were scarce.
There was.
And now
hardly-
there is an overabundance. Now we've got lots of jobs and not enough people to fill it. Not enough people, that are willing to fill it.
Well,
That's
we've got
true.
a lot of people working a lot of overtime. I know that. Most of the customers that we have that I serve,
Overtime is fun.
when I do get a chance to talk
It
to them
can
about
be.
work, they're working a lot of hours,
Yep.
50 and up, at least.
It can be very tiring.
50 and up hours.
You know, if my other job would let me, I'd probably work at least 60 hours a week. Anytime I've ever been allowed overtime, I've pretty much just beat it into the ground.
Well, it's pretty much a demand or a requirement because they don't have enough employees to fill all the positions or to keep the plant running around the clock. So they've got people working hours that they would have an employee to work.
Yeah, I feel sorry for those assemblers, especially in the because I was a security guard in a plant, and those people when it gets hot outside, it's even hotter indoors.
Yeah.
It's like 120 degrees in there, you know.
Where at?
In factories, you know, where I was a security guard at, it would get really, really hot inside, you know, because the assembly line and everything worked.
I worked at a battery factory that's a very prominent one here in town.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked in the smelting part of it.
Schmelting.
So what I did was I turned these huge 2,000-pound lead sows, and I mixed them with tin and calcium in one big lead pot, actually 2 big lead pots. And those lead pots were set at 930 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to wear Kevlar sleeves and had to dross all the impurities off of it. I lost a lot of weight and gained quite a bit of muscle doing that job.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I mean, I went down. I was like, I don't know, 270, and I got down to like 235 within a matter of like 6 or 8 months, just from the heat.
That's what
I mean,
I'm
it's
saying.
hot.
It gets really hot.
You didn't have, and in the summertime, it was every bit of 120 degrees with everywhere within like 20 feet of that machine. It was fun. I actually enjoyed it. It was a challenge. Even the maintenance guys couldn't work on our machine. We had to work on our own machine.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was what it did was the molten lead would go in this thing with a graphite lip on this chill barrel that had like 30-degree water or 32-degree water running through it, and it would hit the drum and instantly become solid, from molten lead to solid, and it would go over, and then we would cut it. We'd adjust these slitters, and it would cut it into its different widths to make plates for batteries. It was interesting.
I'm just gonna say.
And if that machine broke down, you couldn't just shut it down and leave it set, because then everything will freeze up. You have to scoop all the extra lead out of the deal, and sometimes that you don't do it fast enough. You have to reach down on, like, the lead is like this far from your arm, and you have to take a torch and heat up the pipe so that it would liquefy the lead to be able to get it flowing again. But if it started bunching up and messing up, it was just because it hits a cooling drum doesn't mean it's cool. I had my head shaved I had lost a bet. So I Bic razored my head. So I had a really, really shiny head. And the machine started messing up, and I went to break it loose to be able to start fixing it or whatever, and it kind of
bubbled over.
it broke loose at the beginning of the drum, and this hot sheet of lead slapped me just right on the head. And I was like, "That's it. I'm done. I'm going home." And then the next day I came in and I had this big red splotch right here. Everybody started calling me Gorbachev from that point on. And it was my roommate at the time. He's the one that got everybody calling me that. So, all right. So let's see who we got.
You got burned.
Joe Cady.
Good morning.
Good morning.
He said, I ran a Chillcaster for 3 years. So is it here in town? That's interesting. It was a really fun job. I enjoyed it, and it was called Chillcast.
Chillcast.
Yeah. I don't know if he used the same machine as I did, or if he was the same company or what, but it was definitely a physical job. Because on top of that, when the reels were full, because it would go into a solid sheet onto a reel, you'd have to put the side on. You have to spin the whole entire thing to put a new reel, get that going, and then put this huge. I mean, these are steel sides on these reels.
No wonder you gained
And move
muscle.
them. Oh yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but I got hurt on the job. At the time, I had done some illegal drugs, and I refused to take the drug test and lost my job. So
That's what
I
happened.
could get another job back, because refusing after 6 months you can get your job back, but I never have made it back over there.
Good paying job.
It wasn't bad. I think I made like $12.50 an hour, something like that.
Yeah.
I started as a utility, like just moving around on the regular line up front, the finishing line and stuff, and I just got addicted to learning every job there. They had a board as you walked out of the locker rooms. They had a board up there with everybody's name beside it, and then what machines that they were certified to use. And I only had like 2 that I didn't that I didn't know how to use, and that was acid mix and and the actual finishing part, the shipping and receiving part. Everything else I did from one end of the line to the other. Even the charging, that was interesting. We called it formation, and all the batteries that they make throughout the week are sitting on these long tables, hooked up in sequence, charging them all at one time. And it's just, as far as the eye can see, is all these formations of all these batteries. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
But anyways, that's enough of that. How's everybody this morning?
Good.
Hanging in there.
Hanging in there. Yeah, we weren't sure if you were actually going to be here this morning or not.
Well, that part of the reason was I got on James River about 25 to 8. It obviously, you saw when I walked in,
Oh, yeah.
that's how long it took me to get from James River up here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the construction on
65 didn't it?
65 is terrible.
Yeah, it starts just before Evans Road, I think.
Yeah.
And then people are single filing. People, what they do is they wait and they drive all the way up to the arrow until they absolutely have to pull over or get into that lane. Then we all have to wait for them to move over, and I think that's part of the problem.
Well, you all right over there, Jay?
Yeah, pretty tired.
Are you? Did you not get much sleep last night?
I went to bed around midnight or so. Got up at 3 something.
Oh, so you only had like 3 hours of sleep?
A little bit about that.
Stressed out or something?
No,
Dogs keeping you awake?
no. There's a big, we're doing Save Our City, so there was a lot to think about and pray about. And
Yeah, that's tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday
yeah,
at it's at BBC off of Kearney Street.
yeah.
You know where the globe, the big globe is. I think that's just before you get to National, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's on the south side of Kearney Street.
There's some, I see a lot of diverse people and with diverse, ideas of what,
Morning, Marshall.
ideal is at work. And
That's where I work, Joe.
some people are loud and obnoxious about their beliefs, and some people, and most people, the vast majority of people, are pretty silent. And what I see
I ran it for 2.
more than anything is people working an awful lot. They work an awful lot, and they work hard. So they're really pushed to get a lot done in the hours that they do work. So people working 50 and up hours a week and working really hard for each and every one of those hours. And then, they get home and they're tired. There's not much of a day left. So they're tired, and then they sleep, and they get up and do it again. The weekends aren't ever long enough. And these are the things that I hear. So what I see is an army of people just marching mindlessly back and forth to work with no real. They're serving their purposes. They're supporting their families, and they're doing the things that they should do, and the things that are right to do in life. But they're just missing something. There's nothing to report. When you say how are things going, they're going. I woke up. So there's this thing missing. There's this thing missing that we could be all connected to and connected with, and that's that missing thing in us that God is supposed to fill. And I believe in Jesus Christ, and Save Our City is a good way to hopefully light a fire that may spread throughout, where people can feel like they have purpose, and that even those long hours spent at work can be spent in some way serving God, glorifying God, and there can be a better report. Instead of an empty, I'm just doing it again today.
Yeah.
There can be something more.
Or you also get that, well, I'm not going to complain. Wouldn't do me no good anyhow.
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, I have too.
But it's not a cliche when they say it. It's really quite genuine.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that, and so Save Our City and the revival that they're hoping to alight in this city, and there are other cities that are doing the same. So I really have high hopes for it, and
Now there's going to be food there, praise and worship, and service and testimonies.
yeah.
Are you a part of it, Matt?
I'm part of the one on Friday. I'm actually not part of the worship team at the other one, like the one that's this coming up weekend.
Right.
I haven't put forth my interest to actually do that, although I'm sure they'd let me jam with them, but just never gotten around to it.
It's a great event.
It is. A lot of people are fed and a lot of people are saved.
Have you been to Save Our City?
I think
Freeway
huh.
at Bible Baptist College on North on Kearney Street.
BBC.
Yeah, last
BBC?
year I think
Did you go?
just for a little bit, but
I went last year.
I'm helping with child care on Thursday today
all
and
right.
Saturday,
It's funny.
and I think Friday I'll probably just go and listen to the sermon or participate with the adults.
What's funny about last year was I went there to I went there because my friend asked me from church if I was going, and I was like, yeah, I'll go. And I kept telling her, I was like, well, I'll probably leave because I'm tired. I'd worked, I was working a lot that week. And so I get there. I'm like, yeah, I'll just sit off to the side or whatever, so that way I can kind of duck out if I need to, when I won't make that much of a fuss getting out. Well, I get there, and somehow I end up in the middle of a big crowd of people, and I can't go anywhere. So the Lord wasn't having me leaving.
No.
There was no. I had like 20 people. It seemed like, well, probably 10 people on this side of me and 10 people on this side, and then all the people in front and in back. So there was no, and it was down near the front. So getting up would have just drawn like a lot of attention to myself.
Yeah, especially if you're right smack in the middle, just like
And
in
that's
church.
exactly what it was.
When you're in a pew and you're in the middle, there's no way you can go, excuse me, and stand up and everybody's like glued on you.
Yeah. I don't like getting up when church is going because all the eyes are on you. I mean, they're not really judgy or anything, but still, I just don't like bringing
That's why I
attention
like
to myself.
aisle seats. No.
I always prefer the aisle seat. Jay will tell you, I prefer to sit close to the aisle.
Yeah.
But
Near the back.
pastor, actually, we do sit in the back. The pastor asks that everybody actually leave the aisle seats open for visitors, because a lot of people, if they're visiting, they will feel more comfortable in a place where they can get out if they need to, So we need to fill in some empty spaces.
I think
there.
it's kind of a sad thing, really, the condition of our city. If you think about it, we've got so many people working hard, right, and they have no time for anything, the joys of life. And there is a joy in supporting your family, but it's not just fathers or just mothers who are working so hard and so long. It's mothers and fathers together.
Yeah.
And we brag, and we're so happy and proud that we have jobs for so many people to work, and that there's not enough people to do those jobs. But then we have children in daycare, and we have parents who are working so hard that they get home at night. And what's happening there? What kind of relationship is happening? And it just seems like it's too much.
Right.
Like there's something missing. Family isn't.
Cost
what
of
it
living is too high for the amount of money people make.
And it
so.
seems okay because with two people working in the family, you can have the boat, you can have this, you can have all the things that people take joy in having, but then you find that they have those things and aren't using them. They don't have the time to, and they don't have the energy to when they could.
Especially
Right.
when they're working double time, or overtime, and they buy these toys, if you will, and
A lot of times that's what they are. They're toys.
Yeah.
and when
Big
you
people
have a
toys.
chance, or I was going to say, when you have that chance to use them, and then your boss calls you and says, "Hey, we're having a mandatory Saturday," it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And then you plan on. So you're right. You only see your kids 2 or 3 hours a week or a day.
And there's this loneliness, too. We're
Yeah.
talking about families, right?
Yeah.
But they're not talking about each other. They don't even, when you talk to them and get acquainted with them, it's not about family. They don't, it's like, well, are you single? What's the ring? Because people are working so hard and such long hours and have so much to take care of when they get home, mow the lawn and do all the, housework and get the kids to bed, make sure they've done their homework.
Well, that and
By
when
the
they're
end
together,
of the day, they haven't even had a chance to just connect in a way where they have the energy and
nor will they,
nor will they
because everybody's on their phone. When they're sitting down at the table,
Yeah.
they're like this.
They're texting. You know what's sad? They're
Yeah.
texting to each other in the same room instead of, I'm upstairs doing my homework. Well, come down to dinner. They're texting, come down to dinner. And it's like, it's a texting.
That drives me nuts. And call me an old grumpy man, a grumpy old man. But when I'm sitting at a restaurant enjoying dinner or lunch with a brother in Christ or, just anybody, and I look around and I see whole families sitting at a table and none of them are talking. Parents, children, everything included are on their phone. So you see everybody looking down. Nobody talks to anybody anymore, face to face. I mean, people talk on Facebook all the time.
And there's an isolation.
It
People,
is.
when they are confronted with an actual interaction, like if you try to open up and talk to somebody,
Not
and
that we don't love Facebook. Thank
ask
you,
them
Facebook.
questions about themselves, people don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
They're uncomfortable
Yeah.
and not even equipped. They don't know what to say in real time.
Yeah.
They draw a blank.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really concerned about that and the condition of the people of our city. I live in this city, and I don't usually go very far. When I do travel, I'm out in public, so people are out, and it's a little bit easier to make connections when people are already out and, facing the public as they have to do their chores.
They do have really cool devices that help with that, though. Like if you require that, and I think everybody should require that their family sit down to eat at the table at least once a week.
Those aren't being used enough.
They're not. They need to be used more.
I think Save Our City is the right thing to do. We need to plant the Spirit of God and move people to connect to each other.
Block Wi-Fi.
And
actually look at each other.
Yeah. Do you know there's something else happening too? I think with all of this isolation that we're suffering from, at the hands of social media. I love social media and I think it's great, but with this isolation that people are feeling, and I know it's isolation because why is it that when I introduce myself to somebody and start to say hello, how are you doing, what's up, they don't talk about their family or anything. It's about their work. It's about having to go home and mow the lawn. There's no connection to the people that are in their lives, the people that they produced, the people that they married. There's no connection, not enough to say, oh, I'm going to go take my wife out to eat, or I'm going to go and play with the kids.
People look at you funny whenever you say, hey, I'm taking the wife out to eat. We're going on a date.
Yeah.
People are like, what?
What? What's that?
Well, another thing that's happening,
So no one want Netflix.
one of the things also with this isolation and disconnecting is, look, the Lord did tell us to
Forsake not.
care the poor, the homeless, the sick, and the widows and the orphans, right? That seems like a huge responsibility, and it's very intimidating. How do you get involved in something like that and do something like that? Well, it's through your church.
Yeah.
Right? And it's through volunteering and through saying specifically, it's on my heart to, work with the orphans. It's on my heart to work with, the homeless, the sick, the affirmed, right? The mentally ill. A lot of our homeless are mentally ill, but what's happening is people who are working long, hard hours, who have families that they love and would like to enjoy, but for some reason there's this thing, like this wall, this inability
of social media.
Inability to connect. Well, now there's a resentment for the sick and the affirmed and the poor and the disabled, because I'm working hard doing the right things. And my life that I'm supposed to be working so hard to enjoy and participating in has no real fulfillment. And then here's these people who are not working, sitting in a convenience store all day, every day.
Speaking of doing the right things.
I know what time it is.
So there's a resentment for the things the Lord has told us to step out and love and deliberately do. But instead of having a love and a heart for going out and doing those things that might bring us joy, does bring you joy to be generous and to do something good for somebody who's less fortunate. But instead there's building a resentment.
Yeah.
And it's unspoken and underlying, but if you bring it up, watch how many people chime in. But yet they can't even talk about their sons, their daughters, their wives, their husbands. They don't even know the words to begin to talk about it. Even in an impersonal, just introducing who I am kind of way, people are unable to find the words.
Okay, so real quick, you mentioned doing the right thing.
Uh-huh.
So today, and that's one of the mottos of Acts Ministry and Acts Media Group. Doing the right thing, serving where needed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to talk about we're going to be doing the right thing. Coming up at the end of October, we're going to have 2 12-hour telethons. It's going to be 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Right.
All right, the 29th and the 20th.
Oh, man, I'm going to miss it.
28th and 29th. You'll be amazed at the programming on Facebook and YouTube. So tune in for more information. Of course, if you want more information, go to email 4321axtreasurer@gmail.com, and I'll get some. We'll get some numbers and stuff up there. The goal is to get the funding we need to further continue to do the right thing and to serve where needed. But God has provided for us to keep doing it for how many years now?
4.
4 years. And
Well, it shows.
Acts Ministry is what, 27? No. Yeah, it's like 26, 27 years old. Acts Ministry is. So, help us do the right thing, and be sure we'll tell you more information as we get stuff figured out with the telethon. Bit old school, done kind of in a new school way. I don't think we can get Jerry Lewis.
Well, we're pleading because we
No.
want to keep doing this, and hopefully you're all getting something from it. We're pleading with you to support us, because otherwise it will stop. I mean, the years prior to this, we did a lot of it in my home. We built the equipment ourselves, and it's not going to go back to my home. My home needs to be changed in a way that it's not going to be a media outlet. I'd like to be able to open my home to people who really need it, real flesh and blood people, and only for a time, so that they can prepare for the next best step that they can take in their life, and then leave my house in better shape and better prepared for what they're about to do next. And that's what I want to be able to open my home to.
If you want to help us out before the telethon, I'm putting it up. Go to axmediagroup.com/please-donate, or you can just go to axmediagroup.com. There's a selection there to be able to help us out and donate, and everything that every donation goes towards upkeep on the equipment, and everything that we need, operating fees, operating costs, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because this office is not free.
Nope.
But yeah, help us out if you could.
We have had an offer to go somewhere else, but that definitely it's just not right for me, because it's more of a trade-off,
Yeah.
And the trade-off is one that I'm not really able to make right now, and I know wouldn't be right. So,
Yeah.
not for me.
I'm going to miss it while I'm gone, but I will be part of it
You'll be
anyway.
tuning in, yeah.
I'll be tuning in.
And you'll be recording a show and sending it to us, right?
Yes.
Did I go too far? I hope I didn't
No.
go too
Yeah,
far. And
Brighter
saying-
Living.
How
Oh,
dare
God.
you?
Okay.
No, he didn't go too
I didn't
far.
know how much.
No,
of this
I'm looking
was all.
forward to that, Matt. The show.
We're also working on developing another show with Randy Byer.
Yeah.
Um,
He started yesterday, right?
No, yesterday he recorded his lecture for Acts Ministry University, which is another thing that's in the works. So we got a lot of irons in the fire here.
Yeah.
We're going to be teaching the basics, and then it's going to get more in-depth as each semester goes by. This is just your basic entry-level lectures and entry-level information you'll need if you want to be a minister, the things you'll need to know.
Yeah.
That a lot of people really don't know until they become a minister and have to use it.
Yeah, and suddenly you face things that you're not equipped to handle. But
Yeah.
these courses will help
Like
you be
marriages, funerals. I've never done a funeral.
equipped. Nor have I.
I was part of one. I mean, I was part of officiating, and it's tough.
Yeah, it is, because you're surrounded by hurt and pain and grief,
and
but
conflict.
yeah. So if you are a minister and you've never done that, get yourself a minister's Bible. It's got different ceremonies and different recommended scriptures that you can choose from as far as for bereaved people who are dealing with the death of a loved one, or people that are dealing with a loved one who's sick in the hospital. Hospital visits. That's something that not a lot of people are equipped to handle.
Hospice chaplains, you have to have a real heart for grieving people, and you have to have that. It's a challenge.
It is. It is. So
But my show is going to be
Are you going to bring your puppets on the show? Now, do you call them puppets or dummies?
puppets.
Did you see? Did you see the look he gave me when I said dummies?
It's like, dummies? They used to be called dummies, but the dummies are the ones where you actually get behind it. They move the head and the eyes, and those are ventriloquists.
Those are ventriloquist dummies
Yes.
or puppets
Or
Call 'em
dolls. My dad used to call them dolls. Anyway, puppets.
I was going to say, let's be manly. Let's call them action figures.
There you go. I like that.
too.
Yeah, action figures. That
Action
sounds
figures.
a lot
You
more
can put a-
manly.
You
Yeah,
can put a
yeah.
lot of action into those figures.
Oh
That's
yeah,
pretty
it's
cool.
amazing. Like Jeff Dunham, he was talking about on one of his shows about the stuff involved and like getting everything and running all the hardware to move eyebrows and eyeballs and stuff. And
You have to have a
your
lot
mouth.
of hand
yeah,
exercise. You have to do a lot of movement with your hands.
yeah. I was
and
telling him
wrists.
yesterday. I think Jeff Dunham probably has multiple personality disorder. He has to. I mean, he's sitting there when I'm watching one of his like specials or whatever. I don't see it as a man talking through dummies or puppets. When the puppets are talking, I see the puppet itself talking individually by itself. You know, and you sink into that. And
You focus.
yeah, Walter's my favorite, the grumpy old man.
Yeah, he's funny.
He's like, "Shut up!" I've been watching him since I'm a baby. I think I was like
that
8 or 9 years old when I first saw Walter. Yeah, he's always grumpy. Did you know that he actually designs and makes and builds all of his dummies or
No.
his dolls or whatever you want to call them?
wow.
Action figures.
Action figures.
Action
That's right.
I thought we
I-
came
I-
to a consensus.
I
on
really
this.
like that. That's good. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that. But anyway, no. Yeah, I'll probably occasionally have my action
What's your
figures
What's your favorite action figure that you play with?
play with. Action Jackson.
I just made that really weird, didn't I?
Yes, you that
Yes,
did
what?
sound.
I've never actually seen your
Grandpa.
I've never actually seen you do your ventriloquism.
Well, you will if you see the show. I promise.
Because
you.
puppets are where nobody sees you and you're like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah."
Yeah, that's.
So is
that's
that what you
usually-
do?
Yeah, that's what I hand
Oh.
puppets. I go behind the scenes.
You
Oh,
have
okay.
a set.
Yes.
So you're not a
Stage.
ventriloquist.
No.
You are a puppeteer.
Yes. Been doing it for over 30 years.
You ever thought about getting into marionettes?
I have done that.
Those are creepy. Okay, I'm going to call Jim Whining out on this one. Okay, so I went out there and I stayed a night at his house because we were going to see the Sentimental Hoarder building. Well, he's got a Howdy Doody doll in an enclosed case hanging there with it's a display case. So he's hanging there
spooky.
with his strings. And I didn't see it until the next day. Had I seen it that night, I would not have been able to sleep in that
I was just going to say.
anywhere near that thing. Because, I watched a lot of scary movies when I was a kid, and I
It's
had a
Howdy
lot of
Doody
nightmares.
time.
Yeah. Marionettes are creepy.
Yes, they can be.
Uh,
Especially when the designs of the faces.
but it's a real
and-
thing. Yeah, they have so much stuff you can do with marionettes now. Like, there's a guy that I saw on, it was some YouTube video or something, where this guy was standing there, and he had a skeleton dressed like Slash, the guitarist, and had a little microphone sitting in front of him and
Oh,
everything. And the thing looked so real. You forget that there's a guy sitting there doing this out in the open. It's
Oh,
interesting.
yeah. It was in the middle of the street or something. It was the street
Yeah,
performance.
yeah, it was a street performer. It was amazing. There's so much incredible talent in this world.
Yeah.
Blows me away.
You have to have the dexterity. You have to have the wrist movement. You have to have the
Multiple personality disorder.
yes.
Develop it, yeah.
Now, do you have multiple personality disorder?
I hear voices in my head.
Do you? So that would be
schizophrenia.
yeah. So you're schizophrenic. All right.
How do you know the difference between those voices and the voices of the people around you? Like if you hear the voice of somebody that you know or are around,
Wait, let me get this straight.
in the presence of.
Do you actually have schizophrenia? Do you actually hear voices, or are we being serious?
No,
you were
I'm
kidding?
being
You're being
funny.
funny?
Oh, you are. Oh,
Because we were about ready. Yeah, it's not every day you get to talk to a lucid person that's.
I was going to say, when
that's
you're
got schizophrenia.
standing over there with your back to me, and do you ever hear my voice when I'm not actually talking?
You never know. No.
That you had a conversation with somebody when you were in recovery,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
tell them the explanation that he gave.
There are
you.
other. I've been around some other schizophrenics too. He told me his experience, and he had a very profound way of saying it. He said usually the voices that he hears are the people that he's around, that he's commonly around. So the voices that he hears in his head that are not actually there are people that are actually there and around him.
but just
when
not at
his-
that moment.
Right. So he said it's like this. You hear somebody behind you that you know saying your name, and you turn around and they're standing there, and you go,
Yeah.
because so often you
Thankful
hear
you're
that person
standing there.
and you turn around and they're not there.
All right,
Yeah.
Jonathan Kretzman, welcome to the show. We're talking about mental disorders and puppets and dolls, and how Steve McAllister likes to play with dolls. I'm sorry,
Oh,
they're puppets.
that it's a hobby.
They're puppets. So your hand goes up inside the puppet, and
That
this
really
is their mouth,
sounds-
right? You know what I mean? And
Yes.
that's the difference between a puppet and a dummy.
Puppeteer. Right.
A dummy is
Or
a
a
marionette.
Right. Or they actually put their hand in the back part of the puppet and move. That's how they're. Some
That's-
of them have sticks where you can move the head around, and
Yeah.
then some of them have.
And they have little
strings.
triggers and stuff, like this trigger will move the eyes or the eyebrows.
Right.
Like Walter,
right.
Jeff Dunham's Walter, his eyebrows move up and down, and it completely changes his entire. The rest of his face is set. The only thing that he has is his head moves back and forth, and his eyebrows move up and down. His eyes don't even move back and forth, and that just gives that doll so much personality.
It does. And you know who else? She's from Oklahoma, and she won America's Got Talent.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Darcy Lynn.
Yeah.
She brings those puppets so much to life, and the voice completely changes.
There's another guy that was at America's Got Talent that actually won, and he has a show in Vegas now. They thought, oh, this guy's going to be a terrible thing, and then his puppet came out and started singing, and everybody, even Simon, was like, "What?" I think Simon does that now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Mom and Dad watch all that stuff. I don't-
They kind of. He has those facial expressions like, huh?
Yeah, and he's not exactly the nicest guy in the world.
No, he never. He was like that for a
He
long,
was
long
always like,
time.
that is the most horrible thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That guy.
Yeah, he's like, you know, you don't need to
I'm
sing
working on my
anymore.
impression of him.
You don't need to be in public. You know, yeah.
You should not be alive. You know, he was pretty ruthless.
Well, now
Who?
he's actually gotten
Simon
a little
Cowell?
soft.
Oh, yeah.
He's gotten soft.
Yeah.
He really.
That's
has.
like Gordon Ramsay. You know who he is.
Yeah.
Chef Gordon Ramsay.
Oh man, he's
Meanest chef in the world, but
got
he
a
is
mouth, too.
he is good at what he does. I've actually on the shows that he does where he actually shows them what he wants them to do, and you actually see him like filleting fish and preparing all this stuff. It's awe-inspiring watching him do
And then
this.
there's Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, but then there's also the kids show.
Oh.
He's a completely different person there.
Oh, I know.
He's so nice to all those kids.
Well, even in I've seen him on some other things where he was being interviewed or he was just talking to somebody, and he's a pretty nice guy. He does have that. You don't want. I mean, he does that. Have that. Don't set me off.
Yeah.
He's got.
Vibe.
He's very coarse.
Yeah, but you know what? He is good at what he does.
But in the
Yes.
kitchen where he has expectations and you are under his
Direction.
His
He's got a
direction, yeah,
reputation to maintain.
Mhm.
His food is probably known as some of the best food in the world.
I forget how many stars he is, but
He's got a lot. I watched him.
Yeah.
I watched him completely debone a salmon, a full salmon, and it was incredible. The way, I mean, he also did. He cut up a chicken with blindfolded. You know, pre-cut it all and stuff, and showed everybody. He said, "I could do that blindfolded," and they're like, "Right." So he put a blindfold on and he did it. It was pretty cool. Now I'm hungry for chicken.
There's that family food fight show that was on where they had like 8 different families going to 8
Oh, I never
different
saw it. Was that a
kitchens.
Gordon Ramsay one?
No, that it was completely different. It was on ABC. It was I don't know what night. I think it was a Thursday or Friday night where they actually had 8 families in 8 different kitchens, where they top chefs were actually judges and tasted their food. But it was incredible. It was interesting.
I don't know if you guys know this. Jay, I think you do. I wanted to be a chef really bad. A grill chef, not an actual like line chef, but like a pit
They
master.
call it, yeah, pit
Oh
master.
man,
Or
I-
grill boss.
I am a self-proclaimed pit master.
what's your dad think?
It was an addiction. It
He
was an
means he
addiction.
loves the food he cooks.
Yeah, it was an addiction for me for a long
Wow.
time.
Yeah.
I would I would come home from the bar and start a smoking project. So I'm out there at 2:00 in the morning, standing around a little barrel smoker, water smoker. You know, that was the first thing I ever cooked on. And it takes patience. And I'm sitting out there and watching people drive by in the morning, like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I'm standing out there, just staring at the grill, all by my lonesome. But the food is just incredible. I love smoked meats. So what's your favorite smoked meat? Steak.
It's tough to say. I like beef smoked. I think I like ham better smoked. I like chicken too.
Yeah.
What other meat is there that you can smoke?
Turkey.
I like it. Yeah.
Smoked turkey is interesting, but it's good.
You can't. I guess you can smoke hot dogs, but what's the point?
Yeah.
There's smoke in there.
I think I like them all really.
Yeah.
I
There's
do.
pork
I like
loin.
some char.
Pork loin is, and you know what? We should do a segment on cooking.
I think I prefer char broiled.
Yeah. The fire taste.
Yeah, I like char broiled. I think even better than smoked. Smoked.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the smoked. I do like it occasionally.
You'll eat it.
Charred broiled, something I could probably eat every day.
Charbroiled, that's like whenever you're cooking a steak on a grill, number one, you want the grill screaming
flame
hot.
broiled.
Yeah, very, very hot.
And that
Yeah.
way, otherwise you risk
where
either
it's
overcooking
charred.
it or not cooking enough.
I mean, I like a little bit of crunchiness on it, but done well too because I like the inside to be medium rare, really medium rare. I think.
there's a poke test.
Yeah.
They call it the poke test. This here, if you put your fingers together like this, your pointer finger, that's rare. You touch that, and that's how your steak should feel, rare. That's medium, and that's medium well, and then that's well done.
Wow.
Yeah, so when you're cooking it, whenever you poke the steak, I always, this one,
Mine's the same on all of them.
well, that's because you're a woodworker. You don't
could
push
tell.
real hard, you just put them together.
Oh, okay. Well, that maybe will be different.
Wow, interesting.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. See the difference?
Mm-hmm.
I wondered how to cook a steak for the longest time.
That's
And my,
very good.
My
Good
first
information.
mother-in-law actually told me it's
You should try that at home. Just
about
put
the
your
feel.
fingers together and.
It's about the feel.
Mm-hmm.
I do it by time.
Yeah.
A 1-inch thick steak, you do it 8 to 10 minutes on the first side, and
Like-
6 to 8 minutes on
That's what I was always told.
Other
And
side.
My mother-in-law, she liked what she called the hockey puck special.
the. And don't touch it while it's cooking.
Oh,
While the timer's
overcooked.
running, leave it
And
alone.
the char, it's like, why in the world would you want that? I mean, it looks like it just shrinks into a smaller
Hey,
than
Scott.
a hockey puck. You know.
Jonathan Kretzman says, I got the mental going on.
All
mental?
right.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I like how that's just a generalization of,
Welcome to the club.
I've got the mental going on.
Hey, we're all mental this morning.
There's nothing wrong with it. Today we're talking about food. Actual
I had
food.
a lemon pie yesterday, and it's the 50-cent lemon pie from Walmart, not the lemon cake, the lemon
Oh,
pie.
I know what you're
The
talking
little
about.
bitty one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Little
50
lemon
cent,
filled,
the
yeah.
50-cent ones, those are
Yeah.
good.
They are good.
They come in sugar-free
They are.
also, for
I've
those
got-
of you on, a diabetic watch.
Blah.
Rachel loves the pecan, or the pecan, however you
It's
say
good.
it.
Pecan,
Pecan.
tomato, tomato,
They are
potato,
good.
tomato.
Anyway, but I like there's a cherry pie and an apple, but the cherry and the lemon are awesome.
See, I don't
love
like
the
lemon pie.
I'm not the cherry. I like, but I think they're making with cherries that aren't quite right. So that's
The lemon, I would pick lemon
Love
over the
them.
cherry, though.
the blueberries, the pecans,
Pecans. I'm all about pecan pie.
pecan pie, man.
You had a
Oh.
black walnut pie once.
Well, I thought you liked
I did.
chocolate cream.
It wasn't that good.
So-
I loved. The only pies I'm not a fan of. I don't like key lime pie. I don't like lemon pie. I love cherry pie. I don't like peach pie or peach cobbler. Apple pie is really good, especially when Jay makes it, because he always makes it like really. Of course, if you're diabetic or trying to avoid sugar, do not eat Jay's
Caramel.
creations.
It's caramel apple pie, really.
Well, you should bring that in the morning.
It's a lot to make.
Oh,
It's really, really a lot. I mean, I think just making the caramel.
That's
takes,
right, Scott. Peanut butter balls are coming.
Just making the caramel.
Amen to
takes
peanut
long.
butter balls. Buckeyes is what my sister-in-law called them.
His wife, my beloved sister-in-law, makes peanut butter balls every year for
Ooh.
the holidays. She also makes a hash brown casserole
Hey, Marcia.
every year. That's what we wait for, is that hash brown casserole.
And the dessert table.
Yeah, and it's a
I've got to
spread
do
too.
dessert first.
Maybe I should just
one
come
of these
back
times.
from South Carolina to,
So yeah,
You
yeah,
would not be
Yeah.
disappointed.
yeah. I'm pretty. You'd be welcome. Just let us know you're coming. I'll be like, hey, set a plate out for Steve. He said he wants some of that pie.
hash brown casserole.
I love Thanksgiving and I love the
And it's
holiday
coming up.
meals because
Can you believe it?
I can't eat enough of them.
No.
You know what I mean? I enjoy everything that I eat so much on those days that I can't get enough, and then I'm full.
Right.
I like when I have
It's
like
$8.50.
all 3 meals of the day are
No.
planned
Hey,
at a different.
You know what you forgot?
Commercial? No,
Yeah.
we did one little commercial.
Did we do one?
Oh.
We did one little commercial
right.
talking about doing the right thing and tuning
Oh,
in for the
okay.
telethon, and we'll give you more information on that as we go.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and do a real quick commercial, and
There you are.
then
You're on.
we're on
And
already.
The banner's up.
Oh wow! Hey everybody, Matt here. It's the end of the show, and I'm just now getting to you with a commercial. So today's show, of course, is brought to you by, as always, NaturalSolutionStore.bz. It's a place to go when you want a natural supplement, something to help you out. If you're looking for a natural solution of any kind, go on there and see if we got it. They've even got fertilizer.
Can
Yeah,
you believe it?
llama pellets. Apparently, that's good for plants. Llama pellets. It's called a certain word that I won't really say on the air, but go online, naturalsolutionstore.bz. Check out everything that's on there. They've got everything from Rejuvenate face cream, CBD capsules, CBD oil. They have Super Hemp Balm, which is a product that I use, and it works very well for your aches and pains, your joint pains. Joint pains. I can't help but laugh every time. So,
You can't help it.
yeah, so
It
go
is
online, naturalsolutionstore.bz, and find a natural solution for yourself today. Back to you guys.
We're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
We're back.
So it's time for us to start getting out of here.
Yeah, we're getting out
Now,
of here.
next should be the Power Hour with Skylar Carter
The power
and
hour.
hopefully his dog, Deacon.
Well,
We
I
love
think I
Deacon.
hear somebody.
Deacon usually comes in here and makes himself known. So,
Ah.
yeah, he's a big boy.
Oh,
I heard
Have you
him-
met Deacon? What do you think of dogs?
I loved. Well, I've got one. Jackson.
service
my
animal.
buddy.
Oh, good.
He'll be 2 years old Saturday.
He's a service animal. Deacon is.
Oh,
An emotional support animal, rather.
That's
That's a little different than a service animal.
right. You're right.
It is a form of service animal, but it's more, I don't know. He knows when people are upset, and he rushes to cheer them up.
Yeah,
He loves to do it.
they are allowed to go into anywhere. In fact, the apartment complex, and we were just talking about that, looking for apartments and everything. And if you have a dog or service animal, by law, they have to.
But an emotional support animal is not considered a service animal.
Right.
But nobody's going to question you.
That's right.
He has
I'm
a
not
vest
gonna-
on that says EMA, emotional, or ESA, emotional support animal. It's an official looking vest. So, plus,
Sure.
Deacon loves everybody. It's hard not to smile whenever he comes into the room. So,
By the way, tomorrow is my final day here.
What?
Yeah.
Are you coming to the show tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, that means it's time for us to get out of here. We'll be back on tomorrow, same time, same channel. Steve, thanks for being on with us again today.
You're welcome.
And Jay, thanks as always. Looking sharp with your brown tie there.
Yeah, I
Yes,
feel good. I
very-
stayed warm the whole show.
Yeah, I didn't turn the AC
My
down.
hands didn't even get cold.
Good.
My hair stayed down on the, it didn't stand up.
All right, so anyways, we'll see you all tomorrow. Same time, same channel.
See ya.
Until then, God bless you and keep you. We love you. My name is Matt,
My name is Jay.
My name is Steve.
and this has been
The
The Morning Drive.